Welcome to Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore, hosted by Tom and Griffin.
We are your hosts, Tom and Griffin.
Unfortunately, our illustrious friend, Dr. Chris Chismore, is away on his important research and unable to host a podcast this week.
But fear not, dear listener, because he has left us in charge, and we are going to try to do a really good job of a podcast.
This week, Dr. Chismore has asked us to talk about
bodies.
Hello, listeners and viewers. We're wearing headphones now because we're trying to make it sound better.
Yes, we're trying to make ourselves sound better.
Do you like that?
We're trying to get that Detweiler sound because we're in humble Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right. We're back at our studio in humble Tupelo, Mississippi. Tom and I fly on a PJ. Anyways.
This is the important part of the podcast.
And we're starting.
We fly on a private jet from Los Angeles to Detweiler Sound in humble Tupelo, Mississippi. Every week. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, known as the birthplace of Elvis, but about to be known as the birthplace of Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore, hosted by Tom and Griffin.
Tom and Griffin, yes. And Dr. Chris Chismore actually sent me an email this week, and we know he's doing important research every week, but this week I think he's doing especially groundbreaking research. He hasn't told you.
He hasn't. I have no idea what he's doing. Because I assumed he was still terraforming the Sahara Desert.
Well, that's what he was doing in the last episode, but this time he emailed me, sent me a bank transfer as well.
Okay.
A small test.
Which came first?
A test bank, the test bank transfer.
Like for $1?
He'll send me $1, say, did this work? And then take $10 out of my account.
Okay.
Because he needs a spot. And I can understand why he needed a spot, because he's in a remote corner of the South Pacific near the Andaman Islands. Are you aware of that?
Right, the Andaman. God damn it, everything's all fucked up. What if I put it here? What about that? Is that kind of interesting?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
The Andaman Islands.
The Andaman Islands, just between kind of...
Andaman, woman, and child.
Andaman, woman, and child islands. The Andaman Islands, right between Andaman, woman, and child islands. They're off the coast of India. They're between India and like Myanmar or something. Right. Kind of north of the Mentawais in Indonesia. Monkey's tugging on my headphones.
He should be in a different room. This is absolutely insane.
He needs to be, yes. They're a territory of India, but they're most famous for being very unexplored. And there's a very famous island there called North Sentinel Island, has an uncontacted tribe.
Wow.
Chris emailed me that he was able to contact them.
Okay.
And he's introducing them to the game Wingspan. He was able to finally get through to them with the board game Wingspan.
A beautiful yet complicated board game.
Yes.
So the issue had been not that people they weren't physically present talking to them, or the issue was that they just wouldn't respond.
Yeah, well, so the tribe on North Sentinel Island is very famous for throwing spears and killing anyone who comes close.
I like that.
But no one had ever tried to introduce them to game night.
Right.
And so Chris had the idea to introduce them to game night, and he brought Wingspan as the first game.
And they tolerated that.
They tolerated that, and then he showed them code names, Settlers of Catan.
So he's kind of walking backwards.
Yeah.
He's starting with the hard stuff. They appreciated that.
Yeah, they appreciated the birds. Who lured them in with the birds.
So they're about to throw a what is it? They throw spears, rocks?
Yeah, spears, rocks, yeah.
And he just shows them the box, and they say, what's this? Okay, wow.
He shows them the box from the game Wingspan, yeah.
Wow, and they hold. They say hold.
Yes.
In their native tongue.
This is the first interesting thing anybody has ever done.
No one. They've been trying to talk right at us, and we didn't like that.
Yeah, they say we don't care about Jesus. We don't care about visiting scientists. We don't want vaccines.
Wow, what a privilege.
We want game night.
We want game night.
We want board games that are more than just Parcheesi. Sorry.
That's a page right out of How to Win Friends and Influence People that Dale Carnegie typed out and then deleted because he thought it was too insignificant. And that's what makes Dr. Chris Chismore a genius.
Absolutely.
He knew.
Absolutely. He knew.
How to Win Friends and Influence People is basically just repeat their name to them, compliment them,
Yes.
Be kind all of the time. Be quite obvious you're trying to get something from them. Mm-hmm. And also maybe game night should have been in there.
Yes. Did you read that book?
I did in like middle school or something. I think I was like, I was very isolated and lonely in like 5th or 6th grade or so. I don't know. I'd been like so hardcore bullied. Mm-hmm. I just was very bitter. And my parents were tired of me being a bitter little turd. And I think they got me to read How to Win Friends and Influence, or like made me read it or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is gonna fucking suck. And then I read it and I did genuinely like it. And it set me up for success going into high school. I was much more open and able to make friends in a way that I had not had friends in middle school after having been bullied so bad.
Damn.
Yeah. And now I'm like, that book is stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe not stupid, but it's so obvious. Like, it's like basic salesmanship for like kids who are doing door-to-door sales or something.
Yeah, of which I was one.
1950s salesman. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking right into the camera because the cat is going crazy, but maybe he's calming down. Yeah, I read it. Lame book to have to read.
Well, yeah, but it affected you.
You look like a lunatic. It did. I did at the time. Yeah, it did.
It is kind of crazy to see a young kid reading that book. Because like, oh, you think you're going to do business with this?
Well, I wanted to win friends and influence people.
Well, yeah. But, you don't want other people, you don't want your friends seeing you read How to Win Friends and Influence people.
I was sitting on a beach alone in Florida.
You have only revealed a very sad existence prior to us meeting on this podcast. Every time I'm like, I'm.
Wait, prior to us meeting on this podcast?
Well, like most of your life that you described prior to being in Chicago and us becoming friends, it seems pretty miserable.
Yeah,
every week I think I launch in being like, all right, I'm ready to go full penis boy. I'm ready, and then you'll drop something where I'm like, oh, I have to genuinely
respond to this. Yeah,
and that's okay.
I was bullied quite hardcore. I've talked about this before. From like 5th grade to 8th grade. Had a fine time in high school, and then had a miserable time for the first 3 years of college.
I think I knew that.
That's all.
Okay.
And yeah, I was questioned in a murder. And yeah, I was gang stalked by a fraternity. And sure, I suffered panic attacks where I disassociated from life for about 3 months. Thought I was watching the world through a tube. Yeah, but who hadn't had that stuff happen?
Yeah. I'm laughing not because I think that was funny, but I'm laughing because you're just revealing all of this to everybody who's listening. Which is good. Being vulnerable is good.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm vulnerable or I'm just so goddamn tired of that fucking shit.
Yeah.
Enough of that stuff happens. You're just like, here's what's happened. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not even that bad as far as things in life go.
No. But we should clear it up for the viewers. You were questioned in a murder, but you were not found guilty. You were suspect.
Yeah. And now this is,
we can't go in. We can't possibly go into
move past it.
Yes, but we have to clarify. Anyone who hears you say I was questioned in a murder is going to say, were you a suspect? No one can listen to a podcast and hear true crime mentioned without knowing the result.
We should do a true crime episode. I don't think it's fair to tease this, but yeah, no. I was a person of interest in a very sad murder case in Auburn, Alabama. The 1 year I was there. Do you want me to try to go through the quick version of it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is totally. I think maybe at another time.
I would say if you're interested in that, go ahead and leave a comment leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify podcast section. Leave a 5-star review asking for that story.
Yes.
And I'll either tell it on a podcast one day, or I'll just respond with a similar 5-star review of our own podcast. That'll just be paragraph after paragraph of what happened to me in Auburn, Alabama.
That can be the only review you leave of the podcast, because you can't leave multiple reviews. Okay. I was going to say you should reserve it for when we start a Patreon. We put it behind a paywall. But we're not to that point yet. We're not to that point yet.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make money. Griffin's trying to get 5-star. We should worry about 5-star reviews. Leave a 5-star review saying that you're interested in hearing the full story of how Griffin was questioned in a sad murder case in Auburn, Alabama. Mm-hmm. And Griffin will
fully
use
innocent. Innocent the entire time, had nothing to do with it.
And we'll leave it at that.
I'm laughing at the idea of having somebody paying, I don't know what they pay, $2 a month, $5 a month for access to another miserable tale from my life. You can listen to Tom laugh as I lay out just how bad I've had it.
Yeah.
Which isn't that bad.
We're doing fine. What I was going to say is you should tell everybody that now you live a life of splendor.
Opulence. I have 2 plants we're between.
You live alone now.
I live alone now.
We're in your house.
I have a cat I found. He's bad. He bit my hand so bad it got infected. I had to get a tetanus shot and an antibiotic shot yesterday, and oral antibiotics. I feel like I've fully derailed the intro.
That's okay.
Okay.
I think at this point, everyone and myself just want to know that you're doing all right.
I'm doing fine. There's just
Okay.
been periods in my life where I wasn't doing so good.
Yeah.
And they quite affected me.
Yeah, and then you said you were
sensitive little boy.
Yes, and then you said you recovered from that, and then you said you had to get tetanus infection shot, all that other shot. So I think we need to clear up that you do not have any of that either.
I don't have tetanus. It was a booster shot. It was from the cat biting me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Do I need to clear any other?
No. I think that's good. I think we could conclude the men's medical corner.
The men's health.
Men's health corner for this week. Because we do have...
The men's health corner of what episode, Tom?
The men's health corner, yes, of becoming a perfect physical specimen. That's what Chris wants us to talk about this week.
Yes.
Which is important for a lot of men. It's on the tip of every man's mind. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Men, really everybody, is trying to think of how they can become a perfect physical specimen. How can we have the perfect body?
And I would say there's also plenty of people out there who are not thinking about that.
Well,
and we'll get to them as well.
Well, those are low value people.
Okay, there we are.
Those are low value people because, as we know, the measure of a man is what his body do.
BMI. Oh.
BMI, yes.
BMI.
Sirtuin levels.
Sirtuin levels. His what is it called? Biological age?
Biological age, yes. Physical age versus biological age.
Yes.
Your physical age can be high. You want your biological age to be a boy.
You want it basically to be about 18 years old, 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yes.
You don't want to go much lower than that.
No. Because you still want to have muscles.
You become feeble and weak.
Yes.
Which is bad.
Yes.
Being strong is good. Let's just set that out there.
Strong is good.
If you didn't already know that.
Muscles are good.
Yes.
Sinew is bad.
Sure. Stringiness.
Okay. Yes. Lankiness.
Yes.
Unless you're really tight and sinewy. That's good.
I would argue unless you can do something interesting with that. But maybe more on that later.
Yes. And I think we are especially qualified to talk about how to have a perfect body because we do have perfect bodies. What are your stats?
My stats, 6'3".
Yes.
210 pounds.
Yes.
I can, reliably rep, 60, 70 pound dumbbell curls.
Okay, that's pretty good.
That's maybe about as much about my body as I currently know.
Okay.
But only because it's changing so much. I am monitoring it constantly. But I just haven't checked in right before the pod.
That's okay. My stats, I'm 6'3".
Yep.
Maybe 6'3 3/4.
I'd say you're a little taller.
That's what I get. Really? I thought you were
a little taller.
I think 6'3 3/4. Weight 194 pounds. I think my best physical feat was being able to run a mile in just about 6 minutes.
Wow.
I don't know if I could do it now.
That's good.
But I could do it for a small amount of time. And I got good at distance running far past my high school athletic days. And I think that was my best physical feat.
Wow.
I could also bench. I got really into weightlifting in college, and I think I was able to bench a good amount of weight.
I don't remember what I could bench, but I hurt my elbow at one point, and then I never really did it again. It like clicks every time I do that. I can feel it.
Yep.
And anyways.
I know what that's like.
It sucks because I'd love to be doing bench pressing. I'd love to be impressing everybody with how much I can bench press, which I'm going to say was about, I don't know, what's impressive, 280 pounds.
Really?
I probably hurt myself doing that.
I don't know
Maybe
if I ever got up to that.
200 and something.
I
280
think
seems like a lot.
I hit 200 to 225, and I said, I feel pretty good. And then that's when I was like, I don't think I need to do more weight.
Yeah. I think I have something to prove all the time.
Yes, exactly. I think that's why, physical fitness is important in a sense, is because you never know when you're going to have to use it.
You don't, and I imagine that quite often. I'm walking through the world and I'm imagining various scenarios when I might have to use my physical prowess, my strength, my cunning. I guess that's me using my cunning more. My speed.
Yes.
And my reaction time. I'm walking down the street and I'm, oh God, what was one today? I'm thinking about like saving somebody when like a car hydroplanes on the street next to me because it's raining, and I'm like, there's somebody walking, a woman walking barely 4 feet in front of me. I bet I could dive and save her.
You think you could?
Oh yeah. And that's the kind of mental exercise I'm actually running most of the time.
And that's why you bench press.
That's why I would have. That's why I used to bench press. That's why I do work out to prepare me for those scenarios, because you don't know when they're going to come. But if you're thinking about them, prepared ahead of time, if you're living your life just thinking one step ahead, where could the threat come from, or where could the opportunity for me to demonstrate my physical prowess come from, you will be more likely to achieve that thing. You'll be prepared for that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I need to bench press because what if I'm out walking on the street and a car falls on me?
Right. Car falls off of a car truck.
Yes, car falls off of a car truck. Or I need to be able to be strong because what if I get covered by dirt? What if someone tries to bury me alive and I have to thrash? I have to thrash my way out.
That's a good one.
Yeah. You never know. That's a big, you never know when a situation like that can happen. And I feel like that's why a lot of men like to work out, so they can be prepared for any situation.
I think so. I think it's an innate biological desire, or it's your the male biology is such that you're constantly trying to figure out, how can I demonstrate my physical prowess?
Yes.
And for the benefit of myself and or others.
This is a good segue, because not only, I think, do we need to work out because we never know what might happen, we need to be a perfect physical specimen, but we also need to be a perfect physical specimen so that we can best any man, woman, or child, or beast in combat. Oh, yeah. That's a big thing. I was like, I need to be able to be in a fight.
When I was younger, when I was little, maybe middle school age, I'm walking around, I'm thinking about, there's a Doberman. I can see a guy walking a Doberman. There was this very specific instance I was remembering, where I was basically imagining me subduing a Doberman via karate. Just pure physical will. If a dog came up and attacked us right now, I told a group of children, I got us. Because I know I just got to grab it by the neck and then just use my karate on it.
Yeah, so you weren't thinking of like spinning back kick. You're thinking of grab it by the neck.
Well, sorry, I said yes. Okay. I'm thinking, I could just grab it by the neck. I still think this is what I think currently as an adult. I've never been attacked by a dog, but if one did attack me, I could just grab it by the neck. Yeah. Done. And when I was a child, I was like, I can just like use my karate because I know it so well. I'm a black belt. Took one karate class ever. Kick it right to the head. Kick to the throat, protect kids. Yeah, we got to protect kids. Yeah, I feel like I also did karate as a kid, and even as a teen, because I imagined that when I grew up, I would be getting in fights all the time. Yo, yeah.
I said that's a part of being a man is getting in fights. And I need to be prepared for that because I'm not going to get my ass beat in front of other people.
Did you ever get in any fights?
Never. Not at all. Never came close.
That's
I think
good.
when people would confront me, I'd immediately not like submit in a like dog way of like roll over on my back and piss myself. But I would try and find common ground.
Hey, we can work this out.
Hey, we can work this out. Whoa, bro. Let's use our words, bro.
I didn't mean it like that. He didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
Hey, he's just drunk.
Yes, he's just drunk.
A mediator.
Yeah.
Using the power of communication. The
That's
power of winning
your
friends
girl.
and influence.
Yeah.
Whoa, let's make no bones about it, buddy. We all know. That's your
girl.
babe. Ain't nobody making a play for her, Jonesy.
Hey, Frankie. Everybody at the party knows.
That's your coos.
Diamond is your baby. None of us guys are trying anything.
Oh. Hot socks.
Hot
socks, Frankie.
They were playing jump, jive, and wail. I needed somebody to dance with. It was purely platonic.
Yeah, sure. Sometimes I need somebody to have a quick fuck with. So what?
No. That's when Frankie knows you crossed the line.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't like confrontation. I don't like physical confrontation. For real. I haven't been in like fights, but I've been punched. I've been kind of like tussles. Mm-hmm. And there was something recently where I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to fight this person. And I got so, I think I can feel the fight or flight inside of me. And I innately want to fight. Mm-hmm. And I'm ashamed of that because you shouldn't fight. You should want to fight. You should be pushing back on that. Your own innate, sense of survival. Mm-hmm. It's your duty as a man to take any fight that's thrown your way, even if you don't really want to be doing it, or you don't feel ready for it, or you're scared, or you're weak, or you're tired, or you're drunk,
or you're fighting against the government.
Or you're fighting
forming
against
a
the
militia.
government.
You got to fight.
You have to fight.
Yeah.
That's the contract we signed with God when He sent us down from heaven to be born as men.
Yeah. Yeah, when He gave us 2 testicles,
a cock and balls.
2 testicles, a cock and balls.
2 testicles, a cock and balls.
An X and a Y chromosome. He said, you're going to fight. You're going to be a fighter.
You're a fighter. And if you feel like you're not, that's me testing you.
That's a great point. Mm-hmm.
In the background, I'm trying to remember who I very, very recently was like, I might have to get in a fight with this person. It could have been a dream.
It wasn't that time when we went to Bishop, right? And those people were trying to pick a fight?
No, that one, sometimes they invigorate me and I'm like, I'm ready to do this.
Yeah.
A guy bumped into me outside a bike club, outside of Capri Club. Shout out, friend of official bar of the pod.
Yeah.
And he did it in such a way that I was like, he's also tiny. And I think I was a little bit drunk, but he was just like a fucking asshole. He was just pissed off at everybody at the bar for being on the sidewalk, which is dominated by the bar.
Absolutely.
And he threw his shoulder into me. I was so ready. He said something under his breath and I mouthed off to him. And I was like, this is my chance. I can finally kick somebody's ass. I just don't like somebody being an asshole to a group of people. Fuck you. You should get one to the head.
Yeah, sometimes
punch,
you need it.
Not a gun, because I was going to quote a movie, but I can't remember what movie it is. Friday. As the dad in Friday says, blah, 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 something about shooting a guy with a gun is not what a man does. There's some kind of quote around that. He tells Ice Cube.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Really good scene. Mm-hmm. Whole movie is a really good scene.
Yeah.
You were saying?
Well, yeah, I think we've covered a lot about being prepared is why you want a good body. You want to be prepared. But something we touched on, if you have a good enough body, you can live forever.
You could push the bounds of human existence and live forever.
Going back to your biological age.
That's
your
right.
Biological versus your physical age.
How might you, what are ways to get your biological age down?
I think you can
Cold plunge.
cold plunge,
Hot plunge.
hot plunge, yeah.
Massage.
Alternate the temperatures. Yes.
Fast breathing.
Fast breathing.
Slow breathing.
Yes. Cold water, I think, is one of the best ways you can get your body down.
Oh yeah. That's
Cold-
one of the best ways you can get your body down.
Yeah. You routinely cold showers.
Wasp venom.
Wasp. Yes. Yeah,
Wasp
yeah,
venom.
yeah.
One of those right straight to the arm or buttocks.
Well, that's what I had written down here, was that
Really?
one way that I was trying to stay in peak physical fitness was I have the goal to have to let every animal bite me.
Immunity.
Yes, exactly.
Ultimate immunity is something we have been seeking as a species, and it has not yet been achieved.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you could do it.
There was a guy I remember watching a video on, and he dealt with snakes, and he had gradually made himself immune to snake venom by just injecting a little bit every day. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if he can do that with snake venom, there's no reason why you couldn't do that with every single other animal's venom, and even animals that don't have venom.
And other things that could kill you. I've been doing this with rocks.
With rocks?
Think about it. You're walking. If you're walking around on an island with your friends, you're a little fat boy, and they've stolen your glasses. And they want to smush you with a big rock.
Yes.
I'd like to be immune to that, so I've been dropping, starting with a small pebble, gradually larger rocks on my own head every day.
That is an excellent regimen.
It strengthens the neck.
I've never even considered that before.
I'm up to, I can do one cinder block from about 2 inches above my head, and right now I'm like, this is fine.
Okay.
I'm working now. My thing with the cinder block is, because that's pretty big, is just increasing that distance from my head. So 3 inches, I'll be doing 3 inches tomorrow. Eventually, I'd like the cinder block to crack, and once it does, then I'll know I'm ready to move on to small boulder.
Yeah, and then is the hope to, once the cinder block cracks, that you've built up another layer on top of your skull? Like you slowly built
like those dinosaurs.
Callus. Yeah, like kind of a callus.
And neck strength. And if anything, maybe I'm just training my spine to kind of fall in line, build a nice straight sort of pylon that can withstand that pressure.
That's groundbreaking. I love that type and line of thinking, because I think that's something a lot of young men don't consider, and a lot of low value people don't consider, is that we can evolve ourselves. Exactly. And pass along those acquired traits. Yes.
Through your children.
Yes. Like if I'm able to develop a callus on my head, I can develop a callus on my head. I can do anything I set my mind to. I can evolve my body to the point where it is better than the regular human's body. Exactly. I think that's what I mean. And then I can pass those traits and that mindset along to my own family.
Right. Are you saying you believe that, you get the callus on your head, you make a baby, the baby has callus on the head?
Yeah. I'm saying that's what I believe. That's what a lot of people like to throw that away. They say that isn't scientific. You can't do that. I say that's a limiting belief.
That's a limiting belief. I think there's a lot of people who do think that that's real, and I think it's good that they're alive. I know at least one person I've spoken to in my life who very sincerely knows that to be true. And it wasn't concerning to me at all, and it was really good that person said that.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Who were they to you, or is it someone close?
It was. It's a friend.
It's a close friend.
It's a close friend.
It's a close friend. Okay.
It's a close friend. I don't think he would care that I would say his name, but I also don't want to.
No. I think I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think I was about to cover that as another way to make your body physically strong.
So let's hear it.
Wake up. You need sunlight. You walk outside.
Sure.
You stare at the sun.
Oh, yeah.
You stare at the sun for a little bit of time every day.
It's the same friend.
You stare at the sun just a little bit. And at first, your eyes, they start to really hurt. Because your retinas haven't adjusted
Correct.
to the bright sunlight. But then if you just do a little bit longer every day, the 1% rule, you make yourself 1% better every day. You walk outside, you would look at the sun just 1% longer. Then over time, you can develop natural sunglasses.
Natural sunglasses.
Once again,
That's incredible.
improving your body, leveling your body up. Just one more step.
And I would say you should probably do the opposite too. At nighttime. Look at the moon.
Look at yeah.
Develop night vision.
Develop night vision. Yeah.
You develop, and then you can walk around on the plains, the Saharan plains, and the Saharan plains.
The savannah
the
the savannah. There's the Sahara.
I'm obsessed with the Sahara
Desert.
I want a Sahara kick. The savannah at night, and you can see predators and prey, which you should be looking for both.
That's excellent. This kind of
flashlights.
This kind of is a good segue from our topic, I think last time, which was lessons we can learn from animals. And I think that night vision, developing those night visions, developing those day visions, that ability to stare at the sun.
Sun seeing.
Sun seeing, moon seeing.
Moon vision.
Moon vision. Sun seeing.
Sun seeing, moon sight.
Sun seeing, moon sight. Savannah goggles.
Savannah goggles.
Those are all ways to level yourself up.
And biohack.
Biohack.
Yes.
Which I think this leads into another thing that I had written down about one of the things I've been trying to practice in order to become a more perfect physical specimen by imitating animals is my primate fitness group.
Okay.
Primate fitness.
Knuckles.
Knuckles.
What are they? What's the group? I was just going to start.
You're just saying Knuckles.
So I was just guessing Knuckles is probably in the group.
Knuckles the man?
Who's Knuckles the man?
Knuckles the man.
Is this a band?
You said
working?
Knuckles is in the fitness group.
Oh, I thought you were saying like the primate group of like muscles. Like I thought you were talking about like dragging your knuckles on the ground, doing like this kind of shit.
I see.
Climbing up trees.
Yes,
using your bicep. I thought you were talking about muscle groups.
I can get to that. Yes.
Including Knuckles as one of the groups.
Yes, we drag our knuckles a lot. We
Right.
drag our knuckles a lot.
We're both knuckle draggers.
We're hard-headed knuckle draggers.
Exactly. Basically a toenail on my head, knuckles on the ground.
Knuckles on the ground. Perfect. People are coming up to me all over LA saying, I don't normally comment on people's bodies, but you have the perfect body.
So that's also the two items in the merch store is going to be toenail on head, knuckles on the ground. It says that on the front of the shirt. On the back it says, I have the perfect body.
Yeah. And on the front it's got the guy, human evolving from the little like monkey caveman, human being upright, and then it says like
back down.
Back down, and then it's hard-headed, conehead, knuckle on the ground, and it says me.
Me.
It has me, and then
where I am right now.
Where I am right now.
This is the shirt is kind of choked with images and text.
It's just got images and text all over it.
It's chock full.
It's chock full because it's important we let people know where we are in our evolutionary journey.
It says that along the bottom, whatever this piece of the shirt is, it says that right, the hem. It's important we let people know where we are in our evolutionary journey. This shirt would cost $180 to make.
Well, and if our listeners apply all of the knowledge that we've bestowed upon them via wealth, real estate, fitness, they can easily afford it.
Sure.
We can easily afford it as high value men.
We can.
Back to my primate fitness group, what I was going to say is knuckles. Yes, knuckles are a very important part. We want to develop calluses on our knuckles, but part of the primate fitness group is climbing trees, connecting ourselves to the fitness that made us so strong to begin with. And you go to a zoo, the strongest animals there, they're not the humans, they're the apes.
It's the simian.
The simian variety, the gorilla, the silverback, the
chimpanzee.
The chimpanzee, the gibbons, they're more sinewy.
Right.
But we see the way they swing from tree to tree. I think that's an excellent fitness regimen. Climbing trees, acting like a primate. You chase animals chase to catch. You also let others chase you.
Right.
Being chased.
Chase me.
Chase me.
That's why, I like, in the hustle and bustle of the rat race on my way to work, I like to, honk, honk, roll my window down, stick my head out the window and yell at a car behind me, chase me. And then I just take off. Because I'm imitating primate health.
Yes.
If I'm in New York City and I'm walking, I just turn around to a man with a briefcase and say, chase me. And I run off.
That's an excellent idea. That's an excellent fit. Because the adrenaline.
They will.
Yes.
Those are high value human beings. They know the game. And if they don't, it's probably because if they don't give chase, it's probably because they have a meeting to get to or a stock to trade. They might have one stock they really have to be trading.
I would add that any smart person knows that chasing another person or being chased by another person is a free workout.
It's a free workout. It's symbiotic.
That's saving you $150 a month on CrossFit. When a stranger looks at you and says, chase me, when you look at a stranger and you say, chase me, that right there is an invitation to connect. It's an invitation to level up your fitness.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That reminded me of another workout that I sometimes do that I had written down.
Okay.
That we touched on earlier when we were talking about fighting. Fighting is one of the best ways to stay in shape. So what I like to do is I like to start a fight with another person.
Fight Club style.
Fight Club style, but you want to make sure that it's somebody who's unprepared and it might fight back, because the fight in itself is not the end. The fight is the means to the end.
Okay.
And so you start a fight, and that's the first part of the workout. That's the warm up. Because you just sock somebody. You try and pick a fight. You can start a fight in any way you see fit.
Great.
You start the fight. Whether the person fights back, that's part of the work. Whether they run away, you're chasing them. You say, hey, you come back here. I've got a bone to pick with you. Eventually, someone around you is going to call the cops.
Okay.
Okay, the cops come.
Right.
Okay, that's another fight. You start fighting the cops. You're fighting the cops. Or if you don't want to fight the cops, you run from the cops.
Right.
And then you got someone chasing you. The adrenaline pumping through your system invigorates your body. And
keeps you young. It keeps your biological age back down.
Exactly.
You're soaking your muscles in adrenaline constantly.
Yes.
Brings you back down to a 17, 18-year-old.
Yes, 100%. And, if you train regularly, train enough. I train with a lot of cops, so they're aware of this. They know that I'm starting fights. They see me. They come up. They know it's part of the workout. They know they're going to get a workout too. So even...
It's incredible you haven't played Grand Theft Auto. Because you've just basically described the entire gameplay loop.
Well, when I was a child, I did play a lot more Grand Theft Auto, and that's kind of what inspired this workout.
I got it. One of the best ways to become a perfect physical specimen, genetics.
Yes.
Be born that way. And if you're not, KYS. If your religion allows for reincarnation, KYS, you get to come back. If you don't have one of those religions, you're going to have to stick to something else we've been talking about. But I think if you're who likes reincarnation? Who is that? Hindu?
Hindus.
Yeah.
Hindus one of the first ones I jumped to.
Suicide.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Now that I'm thinking about this, I'm second guessing myself. A lot of them probably don't want you to do that.
I wish I was more well-versed in the non-Abrahamic religions.
Me too. We should do one on religion.
We should do one on non-Abrahamic religions.
Non-Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
And non-Abra armchair religions too. Non-Abra pool chair religions too.
Non-Abrahamic. What's the...
And hold on, I'll get there. I'll figure it out. A non-Abra rope swing religions too.
I'm really not. I can see the callus on your head has spread to your brain.
I was trying to do hammock. I was
Hammock.
really fixated on hammock. I was
Jesus.
really fixated on hammock.
Jesus, Abraham. God. Jesus
That was
Christ.
bad. That was bad.
God, Muhammad, and Jesus Christ. That's a bad joke.
God, Muhammad, and Jesus Christ. That's a bad joke.
Hey, we got to take that to an open mic.
That's really good. God, Muhammad, and Jesus Christ. The three guys.
The three guys. The Holy Trinity.
No,
And that's a Holy Trinity that ain't going to piss anybody off.
What else did you have?
Well, I think the genetics thing was having a hot mommy and daddy. That's a great way to become a perfect physical specimen is what I had.
Can you do genetic gene therapy? Can you gene therapy yourself into good calves? Because if you can, and I'd think it's worth the investment.
Gene therapy meaning you're getting other people, your own genes injected into you, or you're getting
the genes of somebody who's born correctly, born beautifully, born perfectly.
Oh, I see.
They got them big honking muscles, and I guess you inject them.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
You try and rewrite the proteins in your own genes using someone else's genes.
You slowly replace them.
Okay.
That's a thing. That exists.
Really?
Gene therapy?
Okay.
Somebody out there needs to Google that and then let us know. No, you do it. No, you can do it.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, gene therapy. We're doing gene therapy to fix stuff. We shouldn't be messing around with all this AI. We should be really focusing on gene therapy. If we can get everybody the perfect genes all the time, we don't have to have genetic diseases.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's used to cure disease.
Beautiful minds and bodies constantly.
It doesn't say calves, but it can be used to cure bad calf disease.
That's great. I can't think of anything weird happening if we just get people, especially men, to start focusing on genes and genetics and getting the perfect genes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good place. It's a good space for mankind to spend its time.
I can't think of a single bad thing that could happen from men being focused on getting perfect genes.
Good perfect genes.
Good perfect genes for the entire
because they're
human
good perfect
race.
Genes.
Yeah. I don't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah. There's probably some money to be made off of that too.
Huh.
I wonder how that works.
I wonder which genes are the perfect genes.
Right. Muscle, big muscle, supple lip,
supple lip,
chiseled jaw.
yeah.
These we know these. We adore these. These are famously good the genes for each of those.
Juicy glute.
Juicy glute.
Juicy glute.
Oh, I wish I could have the juicy glute. Can you work out into a juicy glute? I've been trying and I've been failing.
You can. Pilates.
Am I trying? I mean barely.
Pilates. Yeah.
The women's thing?
Yeah, the women's thing.
Women's exercise?
The women's exercise. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
The women's exercise.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pilates will get you a juicy glute.
Okay. What other good genes do we like? Ooh. Shapely nose.
Shapely nose. yeah. Pronounced forehead. I'd say tall forehead. Tall forehead.
Tall body, tall mind. Where you're going to fit that mind, but behind a tall forehead.
Tall forehead.
Tall body. I just said that like that made any sense.
Tall body, tall mind. Tall mind, tall forehead.
Yep. Right.
No, I think those are all good genes that you listed. I think that we touched on Pilates, women's fitness.
Right.
Which
otherwise
we haven't.
Women's fitness.
Yeah, otherwise known as women's fitness.
Yoga,
we haven't
Pilates.
dedicated that much time. But I will say my wife, she does Pilates.
Okay.
And it's great. It has been a net positive. Because my wife and I have an agreement. Okay. And that's if one of us gets a better body than the other one, they're free to leave that person for a hotter wife or husband.
Seems like, okay. Wow.
So
That's quite an agreement.
It's keeping us.
So right now you're neck and neck.
Yeah. It keeps us neck and neck trying to have the hottest body possible.
You see her getting a little bit hotter. It makes
Yes.
you're like, oh fuck.
I gotta get hotter. Yeah.
I gotta get
exactly.
a little bit hotter.
That competition is very healthy for a relationship.
Yeah.
And
And
it keeps the other person in check at all times.
Right. It keeps you honest.
It keeps you honest, because that's another positive thing about having a hot body. You can do anything you want. You can beat any man or beast if you want. You can live forever.
Which gives you more time to work on your mental life.
Mental life, yes.
Spiritual life. So first focus on your physical life, then start worrying about your mind.
Yes, your mind.
Then start worrying about the health of your eternal soul.
Yes. That's why the natural progression of man generally goes from physical fitness to discovery of Stoicism, the philosophers, straight there. And then from Stoicism, we move into the spiritual phase. As men grow older, they get into DMT and psychedelics, mushrooms. As their bodies age slightly, maybe they aren't quite the man they used to be physically, so they've entered their spiritualist phase, and then they start podcasts. We ruminate on existence. We experiment with DMT, psychedelics.
Have you ever done
reality.
DMT?
No.
Me either. Not old enough yet.
Yeah, not old enough yet. I haven't reached my Duncan Trussell phase.
Duncan Trussell.
Yeah.
That's a comedian?
He's a comedian who's turned into like
a DMT
spiritualist.
Guy?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pete Holmes, and he was like, okay, I think at a time you were funny, and now you've kind of moved into this like spiritualist.
New age.
Yeah, new age.
Interesting.
New age.
No, I didn't know about that.
I've never seen Duncan Trussell stand up, but he did have a show called The Midnight
Weary.
Jesus. I was almost going to say Midnight Mass, but that's a totally different show.
Midnight Jesus is coming.
This is it's the name is escaping me, but it was a little cartoon, and it was just his podcast. And it was pretty cool, but it was very, very trippy. And it only lasted one season because it was so trippy, but it developed a cult following. And it seemed like the dude just took a tab of something and rambled on.
That sounds absolutely intolerable.
You could only really watch it if you were high or kind of drunk.
Right.
And it had to be it truly had to be at midnight or later.
Yeah. That's dorm room stuff.
It was full on dorm room material.
I don't know him or his stuff. I just know his name, and I think that's a great name. Duncan Trussell, incredible name.
And I don't think he's a bad dude. Everything I've seen from him is like, this is a comedian on the podcast, and then he'll just exclusively talk about spirituality.
Okay, yeah.
And he's not, I like a lot of the stuff he has to say.
Maybe he's earned it. I don't know.
I do like a lot of the stuff he has to say. He has some good insights, and he's not like a bad dude. He's kind of like, he's very likable, but it is like, I haven't seen this guy do any comedy at all. Just interesting.
I want to see him be a little bit funny.
Yeah.
From time to time.
Yeah, I think that's where comedy is going, is you just don't really have to be funny anymore.
That's fair. That's fine.
You know?
It makes it easier.
Yeah, I guess it does make it easier. And, I just, sometimes I wonder, sometimes is there any point to trying to be,
Well, you know what? I think
a goober on Goober Time.
I think there is a point to it. I think that's maybe an ultimate goal of Goober Time. Because, I sometimes get down on myself about not doing so much live comedy anymore. And I'm hard on myself about it.
Yeah.
And I miss it. But if Goober Time goes well enough, and it very well could, we could be doing some sort of live performance. And I think that would be really, really fun.
That's very true.
And we could be doing just really actually going for it comedy.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
that's
that
very
be nice?
true.
Wouldn't America like to see that? Two white guys really going for it.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that'll be the name of the tour.
Two white guys really going for it, talking about perfect jeans.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I think that. But here's the the crux of all of that is that when you do live comedy, people come up to you and say, "Hey man, that was really funny. Do you do stuff online?" And then you say yes, and then you like, online. People say, "Hey, do you ever like do stuff live?"
Right.
And then if you're like, or online, they're like, "Hey, do you ever a podcast?" And then everyone just at every single medium, they just ask you if you have the other thing.
I thought you were going to say people come up to you after a comedy show and they say, "Hey man, you were really funny. Do you want to kiss my wife?"
The answer is always yes.
The answer is always yes.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody's offering, rude not to.
Yeah, my wife doesn't mind.
No. And there you have it.
You know, I think this is good. I think I got to about, I think I waxed and waned on my penis boy.
Right. I like the part of the podcast is breaking down the podcast at the end of the podcast.
I don't know. There's part of me that's just trying to figure out how much people want to see,
we're allowed
penis
to be
boy.
Figuring it out on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes more interesting than whatever the intended goal could have been.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I think waxed in and out of it. It's funny because there are things that I genuinely want to, memories or thoughts or whatever of my own actual life that filter in.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun to bring up. I don't know. Here's a time I got brutally assaulted and punched in the head or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't everybody like to hear about that right now? And so then my impulse is to bring it up, but then now we're mixing in with the character type stuff.
That's okay. I think it's
fine.
clear. I think it's pretty clear. There's just, to me, sometimes it gets awkward because I'm like, you want to come in with good entertainment value jokes and stuff, and then you're like, okay, well, we got to transfer. I got to find some way to get back to this thing. Right.
And some way to maintain it.
And some way to maintain it.
We're just two guys, after all.
That's very true. I think we'll figure it out.
I think it's okay to veer back into just being yourself some.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just to keep it going.
You guys don't mind.
We have no director. This is what podcasts need. They need directors. They need somebody shaping it. And we don't have that.
Yeah, that's true.
What we do have is a 100% guaranteed large audience of viewers who are watching and listening to this and willing to give us feedback in the form of 5-star Apple
reviews. Yes, yeah.
And what the other one?
Yeah, that's Spotify. A good point. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Fun. I think good. I think
Chris.
If I had to rate the episode we're currently doing, out of 10 Chismores, I'd give it a Chris.
Yeah, I'd give it a Chris too. We did find some, I think the t-shirt really had me going.
I'm excited eventually to make some kind of merchandise.
Yeah, we got to make some. If we get over like 5,000 people that listen to this, we got to make.
If we have 5,000 people listening to this, I don't know what I'd do.
I'd spend $180 to make a t-shirt full of text and images.
I absolutely would. Oh my God. I'd fill it with all kinds of text and images. Some you haven't even heard us describe yet.
So maybe if you tell your friends we get over that 5K mark, we have a merch store full of shirts with text and images.
That's right. A merch store filled with text and images. I mean, we have a lot of great ideas.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was good.
Cool.
All right, let's go to sleep.
Oh,
what?
Well, that's the podcast.
Okay. Say what you're going to say.
No.
We botched the ending at this point.
Damn it. I'm gonna fucking... I was nothing. It was clerical. It was administrative.
Okay.
I wanted to figure out how to end the podcast without... I'll tell you in a second.
All right, let's do it, and that's the podcast on 3.
And that's the podcast. 1, 2, 3. I did that backwards.
Oh, now Monkey's coming out.
Goober Time is produced by me, Griffin, and Lauren Talmadge. Executive produced by Tim McGower. Associate producer Ahmed Stork, and aspiring producer Little Jimmy Penn. Goober Time is engineered by Roger Goodrich and recorded at Detweiler Sound in Humble, Tupelo, Mississippi. Sound mixing by Reed Armband with music by Laser Monster, which is Griffin in the past. You can check it out at lasermonster.bandcamp.com. Tom's costume was provided by Padma Lakshmi with catering provided by by Kokomo's Mungo Lounge. Kokomo's, if you can't take her here, you can't take her anywhere.